Hello, welcome back to the unofficial My Math by McGraw-Hill tutorial. Today we'll be exploring in the Chapter 12 Geometry section, Lesson 4 titled Hands and Angles of Quadrilaterals, a hands-on experience. So being hands-on, I will be using my handy ruler and my little paper computer printout of the protractor. Okay. I'll be using a ruler to measure sides, side lengths, and the protractor to measure angles, degrees of angles on these different quadrilaterals. Okay. I want to begin by reminding you that the quadrilateral is a polygon created with 4 sides and 4 angles. We also have the idea that the polygon is a closed figure, not open. Won't be drawing any curves or semicircles today. Let me start by working on this first figure. I'm going to go from 3 inches down to 4.5. We'll call this 1.5 inch. Here I'm going to go from 0 to an even 2. This one's going to go from 0 to 1.5. And the last one over here winds up measuring 2 1/4. I'm sorry, yeah, 2 1/4. 2 1/4. We have different measurements all the way around. 2 1/4. 2 inches. 1.5 inches. And 1.5 inches. Okay. We'll call this figure 1. We do happen to have 2 sides that came out same length. They're not opposite sides. And then if I grab my protractor and measure each angle, I will be looking at, this is not obtuse angle, it's more than 90 degrees. This one's 100 degrees. 100 degrees on this angle. This one looks like it's at 100 degrees. Here we have an angle that measures 80 degrees. No, I'm sorry, 110. And one more that measures 60 degrees. 60 degrees. Okay. Opposite sides are not congruent. They're not same measurement. These opposite sides are also not the same measurement. So that's figure 1. Polygon. Okay. For figure 2, let me start by going line segment over here from 0 to 4 centimeters. Okay. Also, let me go from 0 to 4 centimeters. So these 2 opposite sides are same length. Those are congruent. Connect these two lines over here, these two endpoints. Connect these two endpoints. This winds up measuring 4 centimeters, 4 centimeters, 4 centimeters, 4 centimeters. These are all 4 centimeters, 4 cm. And for the angles, get this lined up over here. This is an acute angle, so it should be less than 90. We're at 70 over here. 70 degrees. And I'm going to find out the opposite over here. Should also measure at 70. And we're at 70 degrees on this side. This angle on this side looks like it's an obtuse angle. It looks like more than 90. So I've got to give you a number that's greater than 90. This one comes in at 110 degrees. And we should find that this one also happens to measure 110. 110. Okay. Now let me get back. We'll call this figure 2. Move on to a third figure. I'm going to go from 0 to 5. Okay, that's 5 centimeters. I'm going to shorten this up just a little bit so I can fit on here. Go 0 to 4. Then on this side, I'm going to go 0 to 4 also. 0 to 4. 0 to 4. You guessed it, 0 to 4 on this side. And this final one should also measure 0 to 4. There it is, 4 centimeters. Connect these 4, and they're each 4 centimeters all the way around. One little hash mark means they're all the same. They're all the same length. And since I used this edge line to create this edge line, I was basically forcing myself to use 90-degree angles. And here we come in at 90 degrees, which is a square. 90 degrees. It turns out that they should all be 90 degrees. That was 90 degrees. This one measures 90 degrees, and this fourth angle measures in at 90 degrees. They are all square angles. We'll call this figure 3. And I'm going to draw one more figure over here. I'm going to go, here we go again, using this edge as an aid in making a parallel line. I'm going to go from 4 to 8. That's 4 centimeters. I'm going to go across from 1 to 6. Over here, 1 to 6. Stop at 6. This is 4 centimeters. 6 centimeters. 6 centimeters. And this one should come in at 4 centimeters. And 4 centimeters. Got my 4 centimeters over here. So these opposite angles are 4 centimeters, and these opposite angles are 6 centimeters. I looked to see that I was working with with the angles of these parallel lines to as an aid for creating these 90-degree angles. Here's 90 degrees, a right angle. This is coming in at 90 degrees on this angle. This third angle is measuring in at 90 degrees. And last but not least, this angle should come in at 90 as well. Okay, so I have 4 90-degree angles. Opposite angles are same shape, same degrees. They're congruent. Now, in lesson 4, we're going to come across a table that looks like this. It's going to ask you for the attributes of different sides and angles of these 4 figures. Here's our 4th figure, figure 4. Okay, so begin with this row right here. Opposite. How many have opposite sides that are congruent? Opposite sides congruent. When we look at figure 1, opposite sides were not congruent. Opposite sides over here, top and bottom, were not congruent. So figure 1's out. Figure 2, opposite sides congruent. Opposite sides, left and right, also congruent. So figure 2 fits. Opposite sides congruent. Figure 3, opposite sides congruent. Opposite sides congruent. Figure 3. Figure 4, the rectangle. Opposite sides 4 centimeters. Opposite sides 6 centimeters. Opposite sides are congruent on figure 4. Next question. Which of the figures have opposite sides parallel? Here, these lines, opposite sides, are not parallel. Eventually they'll meet over here. The edges, the lines, the vertical lines going up and down on both sides are also not parallel. As you can see, this angle is in. So figure 1 do not have opposite sides parallel. Figure 2 has opposite sides parallel. And figure 2 has opposite sides on this side. The vertical ones, the slanted ones, are also parallel. Figure 2 is in. For the square, because it's a square, all sides will be parallel to each other. And the rectangle, same story. Because it's a rectangle, all opposite sides will be parallel to each other. Oh, I got ahead of myself over here. Okay. And for the third row over here, the question is, which figures have opposite angles congruent? Which figure has opposite angles congruent? Figure 1, opposite angles 10 versus 60. No. Opposite angles 110 and 100. No. Figure 1 is out. Figure 2, opposite angles congruent 70 degrees and 70 degrees. Yes. 110 and 110. Yes. Figure 2 has opposite angles congruent. Figure 3. Well, we got all sides congruent. So if this is 90, that's 90. If that's 90, this is 90. Figure 3 is in, the square. And same thing with the rectangle. If it's a true rectangle, we're going to have opposite sides 90 degrees. Opposite sides on this side also 90 degrees. Okay. And that completes a little table that, and you'll see a similar one in lesson 4. That concludes the highlight of lesson 4. I hope you use a ruler and a protractor, markers, color markers. Enjoy, explore, and thank you for tuning in. I'm Mr. Galvez.